It's American Heart Month. February, the month of Valentine's Day. And coincidentally, my first wedding anniversary is coming up here. Pretty exciting. So here's the deal. Heart disease is a global killer. It's a problem. And here's the real clincher is we can make a huge difference with our lifestyle choices. So that's what we're going to do this month and beyond. Today, I'm talking to Lori Corbin. She is a food and fitness expert. She was a reporter with ABC-7 here in Los Angeles for 20 years. And her food coach program, notably, just renowned with celebrities and people alike throughout the area. She has a bachelor's degree in nutrition and certifications in personal training and group exercise. And she's a member of the American Council on Exercise and the American College of Sports Medicine. Now, with her vast knowledge of wellness, specifically exercise and food, today we're diving into what we can do to make a huge impact on our heart health with movement. We're not going to even call it exercise or working out today. It's just moving. And how we can embrace that in today's times where maybe your local gym isn't open. This is such a meaty interview that we decided to break it up into two parts. So this week we're diving into part one and you'll hear part two next week. But Lori has been a great friend to me over the years. She's interviewed me many times. So I had the pleasure of interviewing her, and wow, did we have a lot to talk about. Of course, this is the stuff that we love to dish on. So let's dive in, and hopefully this inspires you to get moving. And remember, any kind of movement is going to help your heart. Hi, I'm Mareya, otherwise known as the Fit Foodie. I'm a chef, holistic nutritionist, author, inventor, and mom. And I want to welcome you to my podcast. It's called Recipes for Your Best Life. And with every episode, I'm peeling back the onion on fitness, nutrition, health, wellness, and family. The truth is, you're the chef of your life. And for every important pillar, there's a great recipe worth sharing. So every week, we'll explore them together. Think of it as food for thought that you can really sink your teeth into. So join me, and let's squeeze the joy out of this life. Because you only get one. Can I get a fork, yeah? Lori, it's so good to have you on.
Hey, I love doing this. Thanks so much for having me.
I have just, we've developed such a great friendship over the last few years working together in the health and wellness industry. And you're really, you're just such a font of knowledge, and you have so much experience in this realm. Can you kind of share some of that with our listeners?
Yeah, I would have to say the last 20 years at ABC-7, I was their food and fitness coach. And that's basically because I'm an acting nutritionist and a fitness person. That's exactly what I covered the last 20 years in Los Angeles. And then prior to that, I lived in Arizona. I worked for a station called KTVK. So I did the same stuff, but both times I was hired because I am a nutritionist and a fitness person. I actually had a chain of exercise studios, right when I'm going to date myself, right when the aerobic revolution kind of came out and exploded and everyone was just jumping up and down.
Hey, so you have coordinating tights and leotards.
Oh my gosh. I had a braided headband. Yeah. Braided headband. I had the leg warmers. And that's when the thong, you wore the thong leotard and belted it at the waist, so we were all that.
I think that look's going to come back personally, but we can talk about that.
Well, we do see it on shows when they're making fun of the 80s, the 90s. So, yep, that was me. And you know what? Loved it. Thought it was a blast. So, it is kind of fun, and it's awfully, it was fun to see. I think that was the time when people were wearing black tights after flash dance. And to this day, we're still running around in Lycra. So, some things stick. Some things are going to obviously be a miss, like the braided headband. But yeah, so the long story of that is that there is no doubt I have seen food trends and fitness trends cycle and cycle again and cycle again. And, you have to say the more things change, the more they stay the same as far as, what we need and what we should have. Meeting you and knowing, I think I met you at one of the Fit Expos, just how prevalent eating really great food and knowing that that's what you need to do. That is so now, we were talking about that probably met you 8 or so years ago.
8 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's just the natural game has skyrocketed for any of your viewers that ever have become aware of the Natural Product Expo, where, it's everything that is, natural, which is, of course, a hilarious term because it has really no weight. But the things that go along with that could be good, such as sustainability and organics and not genetically modified and even fair trade practices. So, all of those things have become important to the consumer. So that's a neat thing. Having been able to share that in my programming and stuff has been a treat, so I love that.
Yeah, and people, especially in Southern California, know you so well and know that you're always bringing new ideas to life. And I see you doing your exercise videos and showing people your moves. I see you.
Yeah. I think under COVID, everybody started doing that. And what my deal is that I know there's people that just can't get off the couch, so there are way too many of my friends that can just kill it, with these really fun videos, which I would, love to name drop anybody that wants a really good workout. But I wanted to get the person that is just frozen, the person who's just stuck on their couch, so that if I can make people do some of these normal, maybe easy moves, that's a win, let's get them going. So I appreciate you noticing. I'm doing my best to get them going. So I like doing it.
Well, it's so important. And where we are right now, there are no gyms open. You can't go out to eat and sit in a restaurant at this moment. The choices abound. So when you're home more and you're maybe buying junk food or comfort food, as people call it, and you're not moving, guess what? It's kind of a recipe for disaster. And we should be doing the opposite to boost our immunity. We should be doing all the other things like eating better and moving more. Do you feel like our current state of COVID is going to impact people forever? I mean, do you think people are going to go back out and join gyms?
I really believe that the virtual is here to stay. As a matter of fact, the American College of Sports Medicine every year does as do probably any of the other educating bodies of fitness, they release their top trends. And of course, number one was online workouts, and actually number 6 or something was virtual, which I think are kind of one and the same. But whether we're streaming it or whether we're downloading it, I think people have been extremely frightened by this. It's obviously a very aggressive catching situation. So there were some that kind of threw caution to the wind. But the people that love to move, really appreciate moving, and they're devastated by losing their fitness community. I mean, when I ran gyms, I owned gyms. And then obviously when I worked for gyms, the people that I saw 3 times a week, they were my family, they were my friends. And so not to be able to be with them, and then just at this point to be able to look forward to those Zoom calls where they have the little chat fest thing going on right before they start working out means the world to a lot of them. And I'm sure you have listeners all over the place, but I mean, I think in Southern California, we have a little more space, but my heart goes out to places like Chicago or New York where people are living vertically and they've got maybe, 800 square feet to live with their family, and not to be able to get really good movement is got to be exhausting and frightening and very, recipe for weight gain as well, because obviously when you're anxious, you usually, tend to turn to something comfortable, and that usually means food or beverage. So yes, I do. I think even when we get immunized and we get back to our gyms, I think people will go, you know what, that was really great that I could log on and do this workout, or I could, share this or that. And so I think people will stay with the online. I think it's just one of those other things that almost a benefit of COVID, if you will, that we had some accessibility to a different format that we might not have had pre-COVID, if you can think of any benefit.
I really agree with you. I mean, and you're so right about the community, man. I miss my workout buddies. There's something about sweating together and releasing endorphins that just make you love them that much more. And so I think I would see a trend being more of the virtual workouts where you're invited not just to do a recording, but you actually are being led by somebody that's live with you so that you can interact with them, right?
Oh, absolutely. And along with the virtual, another, I think number 2 was wearable technology. And of course, I can't say I own an Apple Watch, but I know that Fitbit still remains king in the terms of countability. People like measurable results. So, they like to know they did this many steps, or they slept this many hours, or they, this particular workout burned this many calories or whatever. And, they're even watching your heart rate. Like when you're stressed, the data driven fitness stuff is really appealing to people because, they feel successful when they can watch something and go, wow, even though I only did 15 minutes, I did this for myself, which I think is cool. So that's another nice benefit. And I think even your phone, almost everyone has one at this point, whether you have an Android or an Apple, they all count your stuff. They just do. So, it's kind of nice. It's measurable. So
have you seen the Aura rings?
Yes. There's a Dr. Jim Laval. He's a clinical pharmacist, and he does a lot of nutrition, and fitness counseling and stuff. And he showed me his, and I don't have one. I tried something else that didn't work called Apollo, which I'm really disappointed in. I want to get the Aura ring because I think that's fascinating. I do say this though. There was somebody at a company that you wore a band, and when you were stressed out, it would warn you, warning, Lori, your blood pressure is going up, or you're stressed out or whatever. And I gave it to a few people to try because it was a new company. And I remember at the end of the day, we all felt like, you know what? I didn't even know I was stressed. And now I feel really bad that I was stressed when I didn't know I was. And so they all took the thing off because they didn't want to feel bad about themselves. So I think the user has to be really willing and wanting to say, okay, I understand this particular situation, has made me, elevate my stress level or whatever. But I think that Aura also does sleep, does it not?
It does. It's a sleep activity. It monitors your heart rate. I've been thinking about getting one myself. I was curious if you had experience with it.
Yeah, some of the tech, I wish I was just brilliant at it, but I get frustrated with, they try to work well, but when they're brand new, I think the Aura's been around long enough. It's probably the best bet. But I think even 1 year I got a Fitbit and it broke within the first, month and a half. So I go, okay, not for me. And I really am not a step girl anyway. So that was fine. But, I will say, some of the things that we're talking about in terms of training and working out and stuff, because of COVID, probably one of the top trends is body weight training. So using what you got, all 100 pounds of you, so, whether you're squatting or pushing up or planking or, doing wall sits, maybe crawls, hands and toes crawls. Yeah. These things are so good, and you don't have to spend a dime. So I do love that. I think using that ability to use multi-plane and multi-chain and multi-muscle, that's a really great concept. And obviously we're used to going, okay, let's go to class and be entertained, which I do love. But, when you're at home, that you could probably do at least 30 minutes of stuff where you don't need anything at all. And that's advantageous. That's really great.
I think that's really important for people listening to kind of take note of, because I think, immediately people think, well, I don't have any weights, or weights are sold out. I can't buy any.
Yes.
I totally believe in the body weight and using your own body's, mechanics for resistance. I also really think that, it's just more a matter of discipline in doing that, like getting into your routine and your habit. And I know you're the one who really taught or kind of put it to great words for me, was creating these rituals. Do you think that, applying a ritual approach to adopting some of these trends and making them your reality? it work?
I do. So one of the guys I did a story with was a researcher out of Stanford, and he wrote this book called Tiny Habits, and he sort of set the stage with, people want to do something that they can be successful at. No kidding. So his deal was pick something super small and then do something, if let's just say in his action, he said every time I go to the bathroom, every time he took a pee, he would do 2 push-ups, just 2.